And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Winter Madness, we have the Danish Protoss player. We have the red Protoss representing Storm Gaming. It is MaxPax. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Terran player. We have the blue Terran representing Team Liquid. It is Cure. Cure going through the TvP gauntlet tonight, going through Creator, going through Hero, and now up against MaxPax, the non-stop tier Protoss. And Cure has done well for himself, has made it this far, but now he's up against another top tier Protoss player. Oh boy, not going to be easy here, especially because MaxPax is a very different kind of Protoss player as well. We did mention at the start of the previous series how Hero is often very aggressive, very unpredictable, and very active, especially the early to mid game. I mean, we saw that in that last series, to success and to failure as well. Like we saw the two extremes of Hero being overly aggressive in that previous series. Here, MaxPax typically is a lot more mid to late game oriented. He's a lot more standard in his approach. Cure comes in with the eBay block, and ooh, MaxPax will not spot this. MaxPax will not see, and MaxPax may be forced to take the unnatural natural. So a rough start here for MaxPax. The eBay block is successful for Cure. If you remember, he did attempt this against Hero, and Hero shut this down. Hero scouted. Now Cure is on patrol at the triangular third location. MaxPax, he's forced to expand elsewhere, and he's forced to expand on the low ground. Again, the worst option here for MaxPax, but it's the only option. He cannot expand at the natural, and he cannot expand at the triangular third. So again, Cure is forcing MaxPax into an uncomfortable position, and from here he can go for the faster factory. Yep, factory before CC. Oof. So from here, we typically go into Reactor to Hellion, and then Hellions, they can pick and choose and rotate between the natural and the main, and it's that much more difficult for the Protoss to react and to respond. Not impossible, just difficult. So everything so far is lining up for Cure. She's heading up for the add-on swap. You can see MaxPax is forced to invest into an early shield battery here early on. The reasoning for this is because the bases are so spread out, trying to react and respond and rotate defensively between these bases is very difficult. So you have to rely on that side defense to buy time for your rotations. Meanwhile, Twilight Council's on the way, getting into Blink. MaxPax does move out early, and MaxPax will delay the CC, forcing down the second worker. Okay, does force down the second. SCV is kept safe and sound. I do like this approach out of MaxPax. Basically, the best defense is a good offense. Instead of being stuck defending the mineral lines, he just moves out. He just moves out, hoping that the Hellions stay home. They don't. Hellions do not stay home. Two of them do at least. Now, two Hellions, they two-shot. They two-shot probes. They slip into the main. Yeah, they slip into the main base. There's no shield battery. Probes are lining up. And how many do we get? So far, two. Two probes going down. Getting up to three. Yeah, 3 probe kills. We have more Hellions here knocking down that natural. And this is getting a little bit out of hand here. 5 probe kills. Can we get another volley off? Oh my god, 8! 8 probes, they line up, 9 probes going down. Ay. 2 Hellions are still alive, by the way. Yeah, they're still alive. And again, you can see just how awkward it is to defend both locations. MaxPax does struggle. And Cure kicks things off with a lead. So 9 probe kills early on. Behind this, getting his natural up and running. Likewise, building up his own 3-1-1 setup. Delayed starport. This looks like a 2-base all-in. Yeah, this does scream 2-base all-in. Basically, what's happening here is that Cure, he's delaying his starport in favor of a 2nd and 3rd racks. This means early stim, it means early tank production, it means delayed medevacs, and a big prioritization of just a bio army. Just a biotank army. Cure, he may pull the boys with this. He may pull the boys once he gets up to 2 tanks. But it makes sense to go for an all-in because he knows that MaxPax is crippled. So it's a bit of a 1-2 punch. Cyclone does pull away. Ooh, shuts out one of the Stalkers. Stalker does go down. Again, Kyr's building up, checking MaxPax's vision. He doesn't scout the main. He's not aware. He's not aware of what's going on. But, I mean, he can, intuitively, he can assume that Kyr's going to go for it all in. Like, it just makes sense. Even without scouting. Hellions, they slip by. Hellions, they slip by once again. Can we get some more probe kills? One of the Hellions is low. And the Hellion is going to get one volley up before going down. And then it's going to be one. It's going to be 2 kills. Nothing major, but every little bit counts. Every little bit does count. Even here, just buying time, bullying back those Stalkers. Every second counts. MaxPax is trying to counterattack. As I mentioned before, the best defense is a good offense. And MaxPax, he wants to keep Kyr busy back at home. Also, if he can somehow deny Stim, I mean, that would be huge. But the pressure is on. Oof. Gets one SCV. Takes down one SCV. Breaks the lock on. Tank is moving in, so far getting 2, 3 SCV kills. And MaxPax has to get the hell out of here. He has to pull away. Stim is finishing. When behind, Dark Shrine. I do like this Dark Shrine. It does make a lot of sense. So basically, because there's a very high chance there's a 2-base all in, scan's going to be very limited, right? Like you can see here that Kyr, he's muling his heart out as much as he can. Does scan for the Observer. But there is a chance here that he won't have a scan ready for the Dark Templar. They could defend, they could attack. Nice snipe on the tank. Tank goes down. Nice control, nice juggling here by MaxPax. Oh, he has to respect the Stim. Lock it on the War Prism. He has to back off. Here, MaxPax, he pulls away. Kyr's still building up. Dark Shrine is almost done. I believe Kyr plans on hitting before there are Colossus. With a Bay on the way, Colossus in production soon. We'll see. There's the add-on sold for Medivacs. No 2-base all in. 3rd TC. Okay. So he's waiting for the Medivacs. Kyr, he's not pushing on 2 bases. He can push, but he's not committed. Oh no! DC's revealed. Dark Templar revealed, and there's about to be 1 scan. Yeah, scans are natural. No scan in the main. Getting 2 SCV kills. Again, nice damage here. Can we even delaying the 3rd? It delays the 3rd base, and we spoke about this again just because it was so 2-base heavy. Even gets a tank. Oh my god. DTs are popping up. The Templar. Yeah, there's no turret in the main. Jesus. This is becoming too much. This is getting out of hand. Straight up. It's getting out of hand here. 5 SCVs, delay on the 3rd base. Killing a tank, killing add-ons. The power of the Invisible Man. They're pretty good. And MaxPax, he stabilized. MaxPax, it was a very rough start for MaxPax. It was very, very shaky. But the Stim timing has come and gone. Like, again, Kyr's stuck. He's stuck at home. The power of the Invisible Man. Aye. And MaxPax will claim a 4th base. Wow, getting his 4th base up running before the 3rd is even done. Now floating over. So MaxPax looking very comfortable here. And if given time, MaxPax will take a lead. He'll take a lead. Kyr is in trouble. Now, at least currently, Kyr still has a pretty terrifying army to work with. That is true. But only currently. Like, that window is closing. That window is closing. We have MaxPax ready for a Zealot drop into the natural. Just waiting for a Kyr to move out. Then MaxPax can backstab. Zealot set distract to the left. Confirming the positioning of the army. Building up to 3 Colossus. And Kyr, he's in danger. Like, MaxPax, he might just commit in. And remember, this is really just a distraction for the drop, for the War Prism. But He could even just take a fight. MaxPax distracting, getting a 5th expansion. Armor shred goes off. Decent connection. Prison comes in. Dropping into the mineral line. He drops in. Nice Colossus swipes. Oh my god, so many Marines go down. And MaxPax, he's doing it. He can just zone away the army. He can just zone away. He can push into the natural. Tank is too far back. Free damage in between the bases. 11 SCV kills. And he's just going in. Yeah, he's going further in here. Has to be covered to be surrounded. Okay, 1 Colossus goes down. Ooh, MaxPax overextends. He'll lose 1, he'll lose 2 Colossus. Yeah, big overextension there from MaxPax. But still a better trade. Still 20 SCV kills. 23. Oh my god. 23 SCVs going down. And MaxPax, remember, he has a 5th base. He's getting a 5th base up and running. He can afford these trades. It was a little bit messy. I would say that the Colossus moved in too soon. If you remember, there was Zealot reinforcements on the way. He had to wait for that buffer. So MaxPax got a little bit too excited there and did lose 2 Colossus. But outside of that, I mean, it was still a better trade. Right? It was still a better trade for the Protoss. And he can keep trading. He can just keep going. Second Robo, double Colossus production, and meanwhile Cure, he's going to Mass Liberator. That is a way to slow the game down. You can see here, he's just setting up his freedom zones. He's trying to slow the game down and build up. Prism goes back in. Catching up 5 SCVs. Doesn't lose a single Zealot. And the problem here is that Cure, he just lost too much. It's going to take too long for him to stabilize. MaxPax is about to max out. He's about to max out. He's at 180 supply. And even though it's inefficient to push into all these liberation zones, he'll have enough to just brute force it. Just brute force the issue. And just commit in. Prism distracting. MaxPax looking for an opening. Warping in more Stalkers. He does need that anti-air. Okay, that's a lot of liberation. He's going for it. As he mentioned, he's just going to try to brute force. Takes out 1, 2, 3 Liberators. Getting up to 4, 5, getting up to all 6. Yeah, he barely does get all 6. GG gets called. MaxPax, he overwhelms, and MaxPax takes game number 1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. An impressive comeback here at MaxPax. MaxPax had the worst start possible. It was brutal to be forced to expand on the low ground, to lose 9 probes early on. It was a very shaky start for MaxPax, but he was able to dip into the main base. Even then, his Stalker aggression wasn't really too amazing, but the Dark Templar, the DTs, they killed so many workers. They killed a tank, they killed production, they forced out multiple scans, they forced out multiple turrets, and more importantly, they contained Cure on 2 bases. Remember, Cure, he was building up towards a stim timing. He was building up towards that stim timing, towards that move out, and he missed it. He missed it completely due to the Dark Templar. So again, just really smart play there from MaxPax to go for the Dark Shrine. Dark Shrines are very effective, especially against 2 basing Terran players, just because scans are very, very limited, as you saw. Very limited scans. GG. GG, well played. With that, MaxPax does take a lead in the series. Reminds me of, we just covered Homestory Cup, and if you miss out on those games, you saw something very similar occur, even more extreme actually, between Showtime and Clem with Dark Templar. It happens, but GG, well played. With that leads us into game 2, and we'll see if MaxPax can extend that lead. We'll see if Cure can recover. Let's go. Let us go. Spawning in the bottom left hand corner of the Old Republic, we have the Danish Protoss player. We have the Red Protoss representing Sandstorm Gaming. It is MaxPax. Leading the series 1-0. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Terran player. We have the Blue Terran representing Team Liquid. It is Cure. Un momento. So it's just getting very hot. Summer here in Australia. Summer, baby, summer. Whew, but here we go. Here we go. We are settling into game number 2, and this time there is no eBay block. This time there's no block here at the natural. MaxPax can freely expand where he so pleases. Can freely expand. Likewise, Cure going for a single gas. Single gas opener. This time Cure is going for a faster CC. Remember last game, because of the eBay block, Cure went Rax into Factory, into Reactored Hellion. That's why we had so much Hellion aggression last game. This time later Factory. Ooh, and the CC is even off center. Nicely done by MaxPax. Does disrupt, does force some inefficiencies out of Cure. Let's go. Whew, as we can settle in. Again, welcome to the Old Republic. The Old Republic is one of the larger maps of the map pool. We do often see a lot more mid-game play here on the Old Republic. It is relatively easy to set up your third base. Your fourth base is much more open, much more exposed, much more difficult to maintain. But we'll see how our players do approach the mid-game and what kind of tech we go for as well. Do we once again go into Blink, and how many gateways do we go for? How many gates? When you see Cure scouting for proxies, ensuring there is no pylon, there are no shenanigans. MaxPax is one to mix in proxies from time to time. Secure, just making sure he's safe. We can settle in. I guess very quickly as well, as we're kind of settling into our game. If you missed out, and if you didn't check out the interview, there was an interview that the SE historian recently did with Driget, who is the ex-owner of Exxon. And the co-owner of Psystorm, where he became, you know, a bigger part of Psystorm after Psystorm did acquire Exxon. And he actually spoke briefly on on MaxPax. If you remember, MaxPax originally did join Exxon and then Psystorm thereafter. And he did have some stories. Yeah, some stories about MaxPax. As the episode we poke in, catching out one, catching out 2 Hellions. Not bad. 2 Hellions go down. Head-up's going to be dealt with. But overall, not a bad trade. This does limit vision. It does limit scouting. Remember, Cure, no SCV scout, no Reaper scout either. The point of those Hellions was to be active on the map. Now he can't be. Instead, he has to rely on the Widow Mine drop, and it's going to be a much more committed mine drop, actually. It's quite rare to see, but we're going into a quadruple mine drop. Okay. 4 Widow Mines. For those who remember, this used to be a lot more common a couple of years ago before the nerf to the Widow Mine. It used to be a lot more common to go into double, triple, quadruple mine drops, even continued mine drops as well. If you remember what killed this build and why this build is rarely seen, if you recall, was there were like 3 or 4 different nerfs that hit the Widow Mine at once. The Widow Mine, the first big one was that it now alerts you when it burrows. Previously, it would alert when it targets, but instead now the Protoss player gets an alert when the burrow is activated. Likewise, it also reduced the radius of the mine shots. It also reduced the damage of the mine shot as well. So reduced damage, reduced radius, increased alerts, of course, and reaction time. And that kind of killed these Widow Mine drops. Again, that was a couple of years ago. As this used to be the standard. Like, this used to be every TVP. As Widow Mine does waddle in. Does attempt to. Yeah, mine goes down. So far, no major connections. Catching out 1 Stalker. Yeah, it does get the 1. But only the 1. Nice blinks. Nice blinks. With that, we can see Curie's one. He's trying to waddle away. Get out of here, Pappy. Yeah, attempts to waddle, but alas, he cannot escape. Gets a full scout at least, but this was not worth it. Yeah, this was not worth it here. A big investment, losing the medevac and losing 4 Widow Mines. What damage did he achieve? He killed 1 probe. He killed 1 probe, but 1 Stalker. The depth state went down earlier across the map. So he killed 2 units. 2 units for 4 Widow Mines and a medevac. So better defense here by MaxPax. Cure in a rough position. A rough position, man. Yeah. But he had some stories because he was the first team that actually salaried MaxPax, and MaxPax, of course, he was very, very young at the time. Still is relatively young. But when that happened, his parents thought it was a scam. He was like, Yo, these people on the internet, they want to pay you to play video games? What? No. So they actually didn't allow MaxPax to receive payments. Instead his parents actually gave his dad gave his PayPal to Exxon instead to receive payments and to receive salary. There was no trust. There was no trust in esports at the time. Then after a while, they're like, "Oh, you know what? This is legit. Okay. You can pay our son." Yeah, they were very protective, and it kind of alludes to what MaxPax is now as well, because his parents thought it was a scam. His parents didn't want to give any information about MaxPax to the team, like name or anything like that, just because his parents were very distrustful. Very distrustful. That's called a good parenting. I mean, it's understandable, especially if they are unfamiliar with like esports, like the idea of people getting paid to compete in video games. So it's very understanding. Oh, as Cure does commit in, catching at 1, 2, 3, 4. Very nice catch here out of Cure. Ay. Again, nice catch. Zealous had distract. They shouldn't really get much done though. Getting 5 SCVs. They say it's holding to pay Exxon? No. They just even the video said like it didn't make any sense that we'd be like scamming if we're paying you money. Like it didn't make much sense, but despite that, like, you know, MaxPax's parents were still just very distrustful, which again is understandable for people that aren't, you know, familiar with the scene or familiar with esports. I just didn't want MaxPax to give out any information about himself. Go. Of course, this was back in, this would have been what, like beginning of COVID, like 2019, 2020 ish. I have to double check, because Exxon was a relatively new team in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, 2020, that's it. So that would have been beginning of COVID. 2020. I say that, yo, that was 6 years ago. That's crazy to think about. No shot. 2020 was 6 years ago, papi. Ay. Where did the time go? Not like this. For now, though, we're building up. Again, we did have a bit of a back and forth here. MaxPax has gained map control, so he's getting his 4th base, he's getting his 5th base, getting fully saturated, 83 probes, and if given time, MaxPax will be the first to max out. Meanwhile, Cure, interestingly enough, is switching into a very fast, very early Mass Liberator composition. I bring this up because Mass Lib like this is usually reserved for the late game, right? Like, you don't get, you even saw in the last game, like, we were getting into Liberators as like a last-ditch effort to try to desperately defend, but this is very early in comparison. This is before Ghost. Usually you go Ghost first, then Liberator. Here it's Lib, and then, I mean, no Ghost in sight. Into very early Liberator range as well. So, interesting style here by Cure. Very, very interesting. As he's getting up to 9 Liberators. Jesus. So far as we know, it's the Prince of Denmark and 7.5 feet. Do you know who MaxPax is? I mean, no, but yes. As in, there's plenty of voice interviews with MaxPax out there over the years. Like, he's obviously a very private person, and that's it. I always assumed, and my assumption is still the fact that he just is a very anxious person as well about going to like offline events and going and kind of revealing like himself on like webcam and stuff like that. It's not really one to do so, which is fine. It's up to him. Yeah, as MaxPax does move in, will delay, will deny the third. And Cure, again, he's playing for the late game here. Like, going into Mass Liberator like this isn't about breaking out. This is about turtling. It's about turtling up on 4. We're going to be here for a while, Pappy. Like, we're setting up all the freedom zones. We're expanding here on the low ground. We're setting up defensively. We're locking in, Pappy. We're locking in. Here we go. We have a wall of sensor towers, missile turrets. Now, if you're out there, this is the time to get some snacks, get some food, put the kettle on, you know. Oh, as MaxPax does commit. Jesus. Does tend to commit in. And what I do appreciate here is the switch into Sky Toss. It does get scanned, but basically as soon as MaxPax realizes, as we were pointing out, oh, like Cure, he has no intention of pushing. Like, he is turtling up real hard right now. Time for Tempest. Time for Sky Toss. This is typically the best answer for this kind of style. Going up against a very turtly Terran player with Liberators, with Planetaries, with Missile Turrets, is to go into that Sky Toss transition. MaxPax is getting ready for it. There are a lot of Protoss players that are a little bit stubborn, and even MaxPax has been guilty of this at times as well, where they see this and instead they just keep hammering down that Zealot key. I mean, again, look at the mineral bank. It's tempting, right? You've got 4,000 minerals on the bank, so just keep warping in Zealots and just move in and try to overwhelm and try to brute force the forward base, right? And just try to break the expansion. It's very tempting to do so, so I appreciate that MaxPax isn't trying to do that and is switching into Tempest. The temptation is there, don't you? We've seen many a Protoss player be like, yo, I've got 5k minerals in the bank, let's just send it. Let's just ape into this wall of Terran and hey, sometimes it works, you know? Sometimes it does work, to be fair. There's a reason why they do it. But it is risky, especially with Cure going so quickly into Mass Lib. Here you go. Delta zone away. As again, he does break forward. Once again, just keeping his opponent on that, just in check. And ideally, MaxPax has to deny the 5th base. Yeah, he has to rotate. He has to rotate over. There's one thing about, you know, respecting and understanding the Cure. He's going to be secure and stable on 4 bases, but MaxPax cannot allow a 5th base to get up. He cannot allow for it. He has to fight for it. MaxPax, he rotates. Likewise, Nova's going to be going up. Liberation zones do punish the ground army, though. Yeah, MaxPax, he's punished. Disruptor's going to be going down. Tempest are exposed. He needs that ground support. Now losing a Disruptor. Yeah, Disruptor's going down. Vikings, they pop off. They break down the Tempest. 1, 2, 3. Tempest going down. Zealots, they do pop off, though. Oh, my God. The Zealots trade well. Yeah, they trade well for themselves. The Planetary does finish. And MaxPax, again, trying to build back up. Making 3 more Tempests, making more Colossus. Unfortunately, he does not deny the 5th. And that is a big power spike for the Terran. Secure now, upon getting a 5th base, can now max out, can sustain these trades, making 8 Liberators at a time. Oh my God. So many Liberators. Unfortunately, this little outpost here isn't set up on the top side, so that's where MaxPax is a little bit weaker. Does poke in, does distract at the same time, going for a Zealot Run by DTs as well. Can he get the Planetary? Blinks in. Nice snipe. Yeah, nice snipe, nice blink. There are 2 more volleys, and the planetary does go down. Nice pickoff. Takes down the planetary and takes down the forward base. And we spoke about how important it was for MaxPax to kill the 5th. He kills the 5th and the 4th. So nice moves. Nice damage here by MaxPax. Pulling Cure apart. Ooh, as MaxPax does overextend. Yeah, big overextension. Tempest getting called out. Losing 1, losing 2. Potentially up to 3 Tempest. He has to get the hell out of here. Yeah, has to pull away. Again, a dicey moment there for MaxPax. Ooh, that's not the kill. Yeah, and the kill that'll cancel. Another expansion goes down. MaxPax works in. Another Tempest goes down. But overall, this is still worth it here for MaxPax. Look at that bank. Is lacking gas, of course, and could do with taking extra gas geysers. But for the most part, MaxPax is maintaining his position. A couple of key pickups, getting a Viking, getting a Liberator here and there. It all slowly does add up. Oh, bit of miscontrol. Throwing away some Stalkers. MaxPax has to be careful. MaxPax, he rotates over. Nice nuke here on the side defense. Doesn't quite get a Liberator. Rotating over towards the north base, towards that northern expansion. Oh. Cure, he's late to respond. Uh-oh. Yeah, Cure, he's late. Coming in for the surround, shows her storms. Yeah, nice storm with the Liberators. Massive storm. Yeah, catching at the main army. Jesus. A lot of Liberators going down. You know, MaxPax claiming another expansion. Taking more bases. I would appreciate if he did prioritize mining from his expansions as well, just to ensure that Cure doesn't take them later. But at least he's got some saturation, some mining. Oh! Tempest get caught. Losing 1, 2 Tempest, 3 Tempest go down. Jesus. Late reaction out of MaxPax. Pulled away 1 second too late. Going for the dive. Not enough Liberators. He does clean up. Yeah, he cleans up every single Liberator. Massive storm of the Vikings. Storm pops up. Another storm on the ramp. Cure being bullied back. Jeez, that's a lot of Vikings, but now it's all about the ground army. Catching more Tempest though. Yeah, more Tempest goes down. Zealous reinforcements have arrived, and with that, MaxPax he can overwhelm. He can overwhelm the army. There's no planetary on the low ground. MaxPax he has to back off though. Barely doesn't have enough, but he's not stopping. He's not stopping. Another nuke on the cannons. Ooh. Tempest gets caught out. Uh-oh. MaxPax, does he know? No! He doesn't see! Oh! Nuke goes off. Mainly on cannons, thank God. Jesus. MaxPax, calm down, Pappy, calm down. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, that could have been disastrous. Cure, he does beat out a drop. Decent damage, but what's most concerning here for Cure is lack of Liberators, right? He's hyperfixated on his Vikings, but he lost every single Liberator early, so he has been reset. Has to build back up those Liberators. Until then, Cure, he's vulnerable. He is vulnerable. Yeah, Zelsa just collapse in, going for the ghost. And honestly, the Zelsa just keep going. They just killed every single ghost, by the way. Oh, almost. So what, 3 left? MaxPax playing it safe. Switching into Mass Stalker. At this point, there are too many Vikings. Unfortunately, Cranky has so much supply tied up in Vikings, and MaxPax, he has stopped making Tempest. So the Vikings aren't as useful. Ah boy, back up to how many Liberators? 6? Not bad. Back up to 6 Liberators. Mothership is coming in for the recall. Liberators are out of position. Army comes in and going for the planetary. A massive pickup. Massive recall. Recall's over, takes out an expansion. Again, fighting out of range of Liberators. No splash damage though, no storms. Colossus rallies in from behind. A messy fight here from MaxPax, very messy. We're getting messy, Pappy. But MaxPax has a bank. Oh, nice storm. Very nice storm. Storm does punish. Ghost gets called out. And once again, resetting all those Liberators. Finally, they get reactivated. That entire time, they were just left idle. Not the Liberators, Pappy. As we're floating over at the same time, DT's all around by does hit the center base. Jesus, catching SCVs. They're the command center. Going for the CC. It's going to be close. Doesn't get it. Doesn't quite get it. Had template gets thrown away. That's still going to be another 11 SCVs. There's still Zealots and DTs in the main as well. And GG gets called. GG gets called. Cure, he has nothing left. And MaxPax, he will extend his lead 2-0. GG. Whew. GG, well played. An interesting style here by Cure, for Cure to go into Mass Liberator so early and just hunker down on 4 bases. As I mentioned, I really did like the mature decision here from MaxPax to switch into his Sky Toss, to go for extra starports, to go for the Fleet Beacon, and to switch into Mass Tempest. As you saw, he was able to, as a result, have an answer to the Mass Liberator count, and also forced out so many Vikings. And we saw how fluid you can be with that kind of style. It's very similar to how Zerg players operate as well. Ready to switch into a ground army at a moment's notice. If once they commit into Broodlord Corruptor, for example, if there are too many Vikings, then they can switch in something else into the ground, into the sky, and then catch you off guard. Here, very similar, going for that massive ground switch into Zealots and Stalkers. And again, the mass Viking just wasn't as valuable. And likewise, even saw MaxPax just out positioning with the Mothership. We had the Mothership recall, we had the out positioning with the rotating as well. Very rough defense there for Cure. He eventually got his 5th base, but could barely maintain it. GG. GG, well played. With that, we're going to be loading into game number 3, potentially the final game of the series. I'm hoping for a back and forth. I want to see a game 4, a game 5, but the pressure is on Cure. Let's go. Let us go. As spawning in the bottom right hand corner of 10,000 feet, we have the Danish Protoss player. We have the Red Protoss. Oh, with the Red Protoss himself, representing Sandstorm Gaming, leading the series 2-0. It is MaxPax. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the blue Terran player, the blue Terran player himself, representing Team Liquid. It is Cure. Here we go. MaxPax came around right as the Owlstar project wrapped up. Kappa. Once again, we had like so many voice interviews with MaxPax. We've winners interviews as well. He's just a Danish kid playing Protoss, pappy. Damn well, of course. Damn well. No. As from here, we are going to be settling in. So far, we do have our openers, and welcome to 10,000 feet. So 10,000 feet is one of the smaller maps of the map pool. Smaller map, shorter rush distance by ground. We have Cure, opening up double gas. I think for the first time this series, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So for the first time this series, double gas opener, faster factory, delayed CC out of Cure. Let's go. Here we go. Go. Ahí están. Bienvenidos. Did you see the Parzival pic I posted? Oh, hold on. In our Discord? I think so. Hold on. Are you talking about the German poetry? Are you? Let's go. Is that God damn? Is that meant to be a pun on Percival? God damn it! True. He foretold Percival's coming. True. He foretold his retirement and his return, and his rise to prominence. It was all foretold. True. As we do have MaxPax poking in. Does catch a Marine. Behind the thing, we have the earlier 1-1-1 setup here out of Cure. Earlier 1-1-1. Catching out a Marine. From here, we do have MaxPax building up his own 3-gate setup, 3-gate blink. 3-gate blink here, a very safe opener out of MaxPax going for his Robo as well, also on 2 bases. This does make a lot of sense considering the map, but also considering the opener of Cure. Because of the 1-1-1, yep, early tank, early Viking, Cure, he's committing into an early push. The way this works here is that Vikings actually do trade very well in these early all-ins because landed Vikings do bonus damage to armored units to Stalkers. So landed Vikings are actually, they add a lot of DPS, and here we go, we might even pull the boys. Get hyper aggression out of Cure. MaxPax, what has he seen? He hasn't seen much. But now distracted by the drop. He is distracted. We're waiting for that second tank. And it's going to be all or nothing. Let's go. And Cure is moving out. Ideally, MaxPax, he wants to slow this down, but for now, he's distracted by the drop. You can see Cure trying to catch up the army here in the center of the map. Meanwhile, MaxPax is looking. There we go. The boys are being pulled to repair. And MaxPax, he still doesn't see this. He's expanding. It's going to be a tough hold. It's going to be a shaky defense here for MaxPax. He does now spot the army. The Prism gets caught. And barely will break the lock on. Oh no! Ooh, does not. Yeah, it doesn't get away. MaxPax, he has less micro potential. Blink is done. Catching out one of the Vikings. And can he get on top of the tanks, though? That's a real question. Can he get on top of the tanks? Oh, gets one shot off. Immortal's on the way. Tanks are within range here of the Robo. If the Robo goes down, that's going to be game. He's going to commit in. Gets one, gets 2 tanks. Oh god, he's going to lose everything. Yeah, he's going to lose everything in the process. Cure, he snowballs out of control. He breaks through the Stalkers, gets on top of the Robo, depowers everything. Their Tosis pylon goes down. And Curie's doing it. From here we can pull the boys, but there's only 2 Stalkers. Only 2 Stalkers left. The Vikings, they trade so well against the probes. We do have 3 reinforcing stalkers. Okay. 5 in total. Here comes the warp in. There's the energy overcharge. Repowers the robot. MaxPax, he's holding. No shot. MaxPax, he's holding on. He cleans this up. Remember, he has a third base behind this. MaxPax, he is miles ahead if he survives, and he is surviving. Cleans everything up, takes down the Viking. Cure, he was so close. He depowered the robo. He was in the mineral line. He was doing so well for himself. But MaxPax, he bought enough time for a warp in. He was able to preserve 3 of those stalkers. And now Cure, he's in a rough position here. Again, that was basically an all-in that had to end the game. Winding it back, the third base is delayed. The tech is delayed. There's no follow-up upgrades. eBay just now finished. There's no stim. There's no combat shields. There's nothing. And MaxPax saved the third. He got away with it. So coming into this, I have to give the edge to MaxPax. Yes, Cure, he has a comparable worker count, that is true, but that will soon change. Right? That will soon change because we're making 3 probes at a time. Likewise, as we mentioned, all the tech and all the upgrades are non-existent because the game was never meant to last this long. So Cure's got a ways to go, he's got a ways to recover. MaxPax has map control. Diving into the main. Does dip in. Threatening the army. It does threaten. Here, pulls away. Yeah, for now, just distracting you in the center. Ready for the backstab. Kira's claiming his third. And MaxPax won't be able to slow him down, but he's getting into Storm. We have Storm on the way, 4th base is on the way for MaxPax as well. We're building up into the mid game. Stellar drop into the natural. Nice damage. Getting 2-3 SCVs. And doesn't lose any zealots. Nice trades here to MaxPax. Very nice. And he pulls away. Does pull away. Once again, MaxPax, he has a Storm. Jesus, he has 4 High Templar ready. Head up for the forward base. There are 2 tanks in position. MaxPax, can he get on top of the tanks? A little bit too soon. Yeah, he has to calm down. High Templar exposed. He will lose. Actually, won't lose any of them. Back away in time. But again, MaxPax is playing with fire right now. There's a bunch of bio here waiting for him. And he pulls away. Okay, pulls away, taking another base, getting up to 5 bases. Now, this is where the map itself is quite scary here. Well, under 10,000 feet, this has the shortest rush distance by ground in the entire map pool. It takes very little time to move from your side to your opponent's side of the map. That means that if you have momentum like this, catching the Warp Prism, catching out all these Zealots, pushes hit so fast and so quickly. You have very little time to breathe, very little room. High Templar gets caught out. MaxPax setting up for a flank. Catching reinforcements, very nice. It does catch reinforcements, Marauders, Marines as well. Cure going for the 5th expansion. Tanks do siege up. Yeah, tanks siege, they force a cancel. Nice denial here from Cure. Nice pre-split as well. The pre-split pack. As the army is kind of trapped, we have MaxPax instead going for the Zealot Runby. There's not actually much at home to defend. Works in. Oh, the Templar. No, miscontrol. No, the misrally. Losing 3 High Templar full of energy. Ay. Yeah, miscontrol here at a MaxPax. He rallies in. At the same time, he does make up for that with 11 SCV kills, but imagine if he still had those 3 High Templar. We gotta tighten up, back. Gotta tighten up. We're getting messy. MaxPax expanding in the center right-hand location. Cure gets away. And Cure, more importantly, he preserves this army. True. Does preserve the army. Still has a lot to work with here with his Ghost, now with his tanks. Again, this is still anyone's game. Obviously, I do prefer Cure's main army in a head-on fight. He's got a massive amount of Marauders, Ghosts. His army is built to tank storms. And soon should be switching into Liberators. For now, just Vikings. Vikings are amassing to help deal with the Colossi. So now we're backing off, we're building up. 4th CC is on the way for Cure. You could argue that the 4th base is late, but because he canceled the 5th base earlier, like, it's fine. And there's that Fusion Core for a sign of Liberators. So Cure is perfecting his army. MaxPax is the first to max out. I would say it's ill-advised for MaxPax to try to break this position. Right now, Curie is completely centralized here at the forward third. It's the only place to attack as well. Ideally, you want to wait for Curie to take a 4th base, to spread himself thin. Speaking of, there's the 4th. MaxPax, he breaks in. Massive EMP. EMPs do connect. MaxPax trying to distract. Storm doesn't quite land. Oof. Taking a bunch of tank shots to the face. MaxPax, he spots the expansion. And can he deny? He's committing. He does try to commit in. Storm does zone. EMPs land. And Cure holds. Yeah, Cure does hold on. MaxPax, I believe he didn't really lose too many high-tech units, thankfully. Just mainly Zealot. Yeah, Zealot's maybe a High Templar. So he's trying to poke in. He can't really gain much ground here. Storm mainly in the Vikings. At the same time, does try to commit into the Planetary, but the Planetary does hold its own. And Cure defends. Cure, he defends. MaxPax was a little bit wasteful here, and now we make the decision. Oh no, the High Templar get called out. Massive pickups. MaxPax is switching to Skytoss, but the difference between this game and the last one is that this is a much later decision. Much, much later. And on top of that, MaxPax just split out a bunch of supply. Cure at any moment can push. There's a window in time here where MaxPax is vulnerable, where Cure can move out. For now, getting a 5th CC. He might just turtle. There's limited range, advanced ballistics. He might decide to turtle up instead. As MaxPax is setting up, okay, setting up his outpost, cannons, shield batteries. Should be seeing one here in the center, here towards the left, we already have it, and over towards ideally the right. Yeah, here taking over the center expansion. At the same time, Prism slips in, causing a distraction. No major damage. Oh, the massive EMPs. Jesus. The EMPs pop off, 2 Colossus goes down. Yeah, MaxPax here overextends. Losing 2 Colossus for free. Again, MaxPax's main army is still lacking. It's still very much so lacking here. Okay, there are just so many ghosts, so many EMPs available. Oh, very nice stasis. Okay, stasis goes off. That's EMP on one of the High Templar. There's 5 Templar left. Stasis is about to run out. Uh-oh. Yeah, he comes in for the surround. Yeah, nice flank, nice surround. Cannons and shield wires are dealt with, and MaxPax has to get the hell out of here. Has to pull away. Once again, he gets caught out. Losing the Archon, the Immortal. And Cure, he might just have too much here. Yeah, he has too much. Now there's 0 splash damage, no Colossus, no High Templar. He's stimming forward. He stims. And he breaks through. There's 1 storm. It's not bad, but it's not enough. Yeah, it's not going to be enough here. Cure, he has done it. Again, MaxPax had just so many poor fights in the lead up to this. Throwing away supply, losing momentum. And despite having these fringe bases, it doesn't matter. Does not matter. Cure is going for the kill. Going for the natural. He's going in back. And catching up the Archons, the Tempest, the Colossus, the everything back. Ay, ay, ay. As you saw, step forward, we stim and we win. There's a handful of Zealots left. We got a couple of Zealots coming in for a flank. MaxPax trying to hold on. Jesus, oh my god, that's crazy, Storm. The Storms are pretty good. They're very good. But GG gets called, and Curie does put a point on the board. GG. Whew, GG, well played. We have a back and forth here. Again, this map is so unforgiving just because of the size of the map. Once you lose momentum, bam, it creates an opening, and then you can just send it across the map. Curie took 1 very strong fight in the center, and that just snowballed into a win from there. GG. GG, well played. But as I was mentioning previously here, MaxPax had a really shaky mid-game as he was constantly just committing in, throwing away Zealots, High Templar, Colossus, Tempest, Prisms as well. I would say that MaxPax, he was overly aggressive, especially on 10,000 feet. It's a hard call to make, but 10,000 feet, as you saw, as we tried to point out, the 4-base setup is very condensed. It's very centralized. So unlike on other maps, the Terran player, they can just sit their army in the middle and defend all 4 locations. They can defend all 4 bases, whereas on other maps they have to spread themselves thin, commit supply towards one side, towards the other side. Here it's all centralized, easier to defend and easier to punish an overly aggressive Protoss. GG. GG, well played. With that, we have a series. We have a back and forth here, and can Cure force the ace match? Let's go. Up next, going to be loading into Tourmaline. Let's go. Let us go. This morning in the top right-hand corner here of Tourmaline, we have the red Protoss player, the red Protoss himself. We have the Danish Protoss. He is still ahead in the series, still 1 game away from claiming the series, and we'll see if he can claim it here and now. For System Gaming, it is MaxPax. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the blue Terran player, the blue Terran himself, representing Team Liquid. It is a Cure. Here we go. And welcome once again to Tourmaline. Tourmaline has some similar features to the previous map. We're here on Tourmaline. It is very small, short rush distance by ground. Aggression is heavily favored here, and we do often see a lot of all-ins on Tourmaline. If you remember, how did Cure begin the last game? He went for an all-in. He went for a 2-base all-in, and he barely failed to kill MaxPax. He was forced into a longer game. Here we could see something similar. Once again, double gas. Went for the same opener last game. Double gas, faster factory, faster starport, potentially faster tank production. So eyes are on Cure. Again, higher chance he's going to be aggressive here. Here we go. Here we go. So now we are going to be building up. TVP needs an option to be played in the mid game. For the most part, I see you mean Terran for Protoss. For the most part, the consensus is that the mid game is very, very difficult for Terran. It's like the horseshoe like effect where You could argue that Terran player has stronger early game and late game, but weaker mid game. I would say that there are some builds and there are some ways to play the mid game, but they're typically very specialized. I think a good example of that, Bjorn is very fond of this. Meanwhile, Maru and Clem, they mix it in every now and then, even Kira as well. But going 3cc 3 racks, if you can get away with that, if you can get away with a greedy build, that does hit very strong in the mid game. That's an example of that, but it's a very niche build, right? Like, it's a very specific kind of opener you have to go for. Typically, that relies on a larger map as well. That's ill-advised on Tourmaline or on 10,000 feet. There are ways to play the mid game, but it's a little bit more restrictive if you want to be active and aggressive in the mid game, for sure. As a Terran. Meanwhile, Twilight Council opener out of MaxPax. Let's go Twilight Council. Meanwhile, Kira behind this going for his own faster factory into faster starports. And we'll see where this leads us. We'll see where he takes us. Let's go. Here we go. For now, the CC is going to be delayed. Delays CC at the same time. Reaper gets across the map, gets 2 probe kills, as some damage, which is nice, but Kira still cannot expand. Cyclone is revealed. Does confirm the tech that was made, not the reactor. True. Oh, into early add-on swap. Okay. So singular Cyclone. From here we can go into early Banshee, early Raven. What do you have for us? And this is going to be committed Cloak Banshee. Let's go. Cloak Banshee's on the way. MaxPax is playing safe. He's going for a 3-gate opener into Robo. It's very common to play safe here on Tourmaline. Again, because the map is so small, it is ill-advised to go for a greedier build. So it's playing it safe. This will give access to detection. MaxPax, he will have the tools to defend. He will have the tools, but it comes down to the execution. So now our players are building up. Now players are building up. We do have our Banshees moving out on the right-hand side. So far, MaxPax, he has no idea. He did not scout the main. He's pushing with his Prism, with his Stalkers. There's going to be one Observer backing him to defend. And there are no... sorry, there's two. There's 2 defensive Stalkers. MaxPax, he pokes in. Pokes in, 2 SCV kills. Okay damage. Banshee into the main. MaxPax, he's ready. Yeah, he's in position. He's in position. Detection is available. And the Banshee will be shut down. Yeah, rough start here for Kira. At the same time, Adepts, they don't quite make their way in. But the Banshee is denied. It denies the Banshee. Kira moving out early on. Bearing in mind, remember, this is pre-stim. There is no stim, no combat shields, no bio upgrades. The bulk of the damage comes from the tanks and from the Banshee. Yeah, boys are being pulled. Kira, he's committing. Nice pick up. Yeah, Prism goes down. That means there's no backstab. No backstab, no counter warp in. It is going to be go time for Kira. And MaxPax, he's aware. He's getting a second pylon. So second pylon, battery is done, and getting safety immortals. Kira throws down 4 more. Oh my god, wait, what? He throws down 4 more Raxes. Okay. Getting up to 6 Raxes on 2 bases. Now, what's interesting here is that Kira, he's going to back off. But I believe this should be a 2-base all-in. Yeah, it's a 2-base all-in here. He's going for a 6-rack 2-base all-in. But this is going to hit a little bit later here. This is interesting. So a couple of things just happened. MaxPax, he saw the attempted move out. This was not the initial plan, going into 6 Raxes. This wasn't the initial plan, but MaxPax, he saw the move out. That's why he threw down the second pylon. That's why he made this safety immortal. Kira, he knows he got scouted, so he backs off. He backs off, and instead, he's macroing up into a 2-base all-in, into a later 2-base all-in. He's hoping that MaxPax probes up, MaxPax techs, and MaxPax takes a fourth base and is overly greedy. Now, what's important here is that MaxPax is checking for a third. There is no third expansion. MaxPax still has to confirm that there's no third CC in the main. So here comes a hallucination. He needs to get eyes on the main base. There's nothing to stop it. Yeah, there's no denial of the scouts. Gets into the main, sees 4 Raxes so far. And does it confirm the extra 2? For all you know, there could still be a CC here. There could still be a CC on the low ground. Yeah, MaxPax, he does not confirm. That's a little bit scary. Yeah, it's a little bit scary here. Again, for all he knows, there could be a command center here. He didn't confirm the extra Raxes. This would have been the tell that there was an all-in coming. But he will spot the move out. Oh, never mind. Storm is on the way. There we go. Now he knows. He does see the army. The boys are being pulled. Again, here comes the 2-base all-in. Storm is on the way. How many High Templar? 2. Soon to be 4. So 4 High Templar. There's the energy overcharge. Storm is still not yet done. 10 more seconds. He's almost there. 3, 2, 1. He's gonna have 4 storms. That might be enough. Yeah, that might be enough. There's a first storm. Yeah, there's 1. There's 2. There's 2 left. Tank boy is going off. There's a 3rd storm. And there's 1 storm remaining. The army does get low. We have extra Zealot Warpins. Again, MaxPax is still holding on to 1 storm. The Robo is going to go down. It takes out the Robo. Zealots collapse in. They get the first tank. They get 1 tank. They're trying to get on top of the other. We get a decent storm, and looks like MaxPax will clean up. Oh, it's close. It's so close. He gets the tank. Tank goes down. And MaxPax is holding. He's holding on. I say that we still have more reinforcements coming in, going for the Immortal. Trying to. MaxPax cleans up the army, forces back Cure. Overextending a little bit here. Yeah, it does overextend. Uh-oh. We'll lose the Immortal. We'll lose the Immortal, but look at this. A massive warping of High Templar. And now Cure, he has no backbone. He has no tank. He has no tank. He has no Banshees. It was close. It was clutch, but alas, he just didn't. It didn't pay off. Did not work out. Just does not have enough. As time goes on, MaxPax, he's up 30 probes. Remember, Cure, it was a 2-base all-in. He pulled the boys. It was all or nothing. He just doesn't have enough. Yeah, not like this. As another storm does zone away. MaxPax still has 3 more storms available, or soon to be 3 more. Doesn't want to be too wasteful though. Down to 2. 2 storms left, warping in more zealots. Down to 1. 1 storm remaining. How about plenty of charge lots? Yeah, plenty of charge lots. He does collapse in. Collapses on the army. Curie has to get the hell out of here. Has to pull away. And he bleeds out so many Marauders. That's what, 5, 6 Marauders going down. Oof. A brutal storm. We're missing Zealots, true. We're missing Charge Zealots. Behind this, remember, there's no 3rd CC. Like, this entire time, for the past 10 minutes, it's been a 2-base all-in. Cure's been trying to end it. This Zealot counterattack is kind of crazy. This tells me that MaxPax's main army is going to be a little bit weaker. So a bold move going for the run by. Will catch reinforcements. Will kill SCVs, and this kind of just forces the all in. It confirms it. The Curie cannot sustain his all in, I should say. I see we'll lose mules, 3 SCVs. The entire army turns back around. In the end, this was worth it. I was concerned that this was going to trigger Cure to commit, but no, he comes back home. Dropping to the natural. And as time goes on, it's getting easier and easier for MaxPax. Like, he's just getting a stronger defense, a stronger economy, a 4th expansion's on the way against a 2-basing Terran, against really a 1-basing Terran. Army gets spotted. Kira does trade efficiently. Yo, we got an academy on the way? What? Okay, sure, I guess. Yeah, GG gets cool. The writing is on the wall, and MaxPax, he will claim the series 3-1, becoming this week's PiGosaur Cup champion. GG. Whew. GG, well played in the end. Again, a very hyper aggressive build here by Cure, opening up with the 2-base all-in and following it up with a delayed 2-base all-in, getting up to 6 Raxes, did pull the boys. We did see that MaxPax, he was able to scout ahead of time. He did have that safety pylon to make sure his robo stayed powered, and again, he needed 10 seconds to finish up Storm and barely did finish up in time. He had 4 High Templar, he had 4 Storms available. It was 4 to 6 if I recall correctly. Plenty of Storms, bought a lot of time, shut down the all-in. GG, well played. It was close, it was clutch, but thankfully MaxPax, he was able to scout ahead of time to be aware of the initial all-in, to play safe as a result, and he was ready in time, did shut it down. GG. It was impressive that Cure, he was able to sustain his all-in for as long as he did, but again, as time progressed, it was becoming weaker and weaker, right? It was just becoming stronger and stronger for MaxPax's setup, and eventually shut him down. GG, well played with that. Congratulations to MaxPax. My condolences to Cure, as MaxPax will claim the series 3-1, becoming the PiGosaur Cup number 65 champion. But I don't want to take away from Cure, because Cure, he didn't just take a map. I could see him taking more, and we could have even seen an ace match here. But Cure, he popped off against Hero, he popped off against Creator. Cure, he did achieve, and he did take down many a strong Protoss to make it to the finals. It's a very impressive play here by Cure. Very impressive. GG, well played. As MaxPax does claim the win, and with that, we have our champion, and we're going to be wrapping up here for the time being. As a reminder, this was a replay cast, and the actual PiGosaur Cup is on Wednesdays. Bam! Let's have a look. Let's have a look at our schedule here. As you can see, we just wrapped up with our Monday evening broadcast. We just wrapped up with PiGosaur Cup, and you can see the PiGosaur Cup logo of the PiGosaur itself. You can see it on Wednesday. That is the live broadcast. That is going to be this week's live broadcast of PiGosaur Cup. That is going to be Wednesday morning. In between, though, we do have one more cast Tuesday morning as well. That's going to be the OSC Elite Rising Star Tournament, featuring the up-and-coming players in the StarCraft scene. So we are going to be live tomorrow with OSC. That is going to be in around 12 hours. 12 hours time, we're going to be live with our next cast. Again, Wednesday morning, we have PiGosaur Cup. Wednesday evening, we have Wardy TV Monday. We have the Pondcast. We have Little League Cup, KSL, SDO, STC. Plenty of content, plenty of StarCraft. There's a very high chance you can see that on Tuesday. Sorry, I meant to say on Thursday. On Thursday, you can see that there's like a morning slot available. Most likely, we will be filling that up with another cast. We just have to confirm. And most likely we'll be having another broadcast there. So for the most part, we're live twice a day, every single day. We cast more StarCraft than anyone else out there, more than Wardy, more than Steadfast, more than anyone else. We have the quantity, and we have a little bit of the quality as well. But I should also emphasize that one of the reasons why we've had a bunch of replay casts recently is because January we were unavailable. Like January, we were very, very much so unavailable, so we couldn't cast as much in January. So we've been catching up on a lot of StarCraft in February here with Rongi Cup, with Thunderfire, with Home Story Cup, with PiGosaur Cups like this one. This was a replay cast. Like PiGosaur Cups, like Wardy TV Mondays. Even Little League Cup as well. Like this is going to be a catch-up, a week of catch-up Little League Cup as well, to catch up what we missed out on last week. So there's been a lot of catching up from us. Eventually we'll catch up, and then we can slow things down a little bit. So to the point where we can have like maybe one cast a day. One cast a day would be ideal, but for now, like we have a more intense schedule, a little bit more intense. But otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks so much for tuning in. We do appreciate it. And again, we'll be live in 12 hours with our next cast with OSC Elite Rising Star. We'll be there. We will be there. Otherwise, if you want to support us, and if you want to support the players, the scene, and StarCraft, you can do so via Patreon. !Patreon in the chat. Our Patreon does fund our tournaments on a regular basis. Specifically, what are our tournaments? I mean, if you can see here on our schedule, you can see some events that stand out amongst the others. That is the Sea Duckling Open and the and the Sparkling Tuna Cup. And the Sparkling Tuna Cup. I can actually show it off here, I believe. Bam. Yeah, there we go. You can see it on my left, but these are the 3 tournaments that we do host on a regular basis: Sea Duckling Open, Sparkling Tuna Cup, and Master Swan Open. 2 of them are amateur events for Diamond players and for Master players. Tuna Cup is open to pro players. That's where we have players like Beyond, Hero, Shin, Solar, Classic, Showtime, all facing off on a weekly basis. So these are the 3 tournaments we have, and again, they're all funded via Patreon. All funded. You can actually see under my camera. Under my camera, you can see our Patreon, how much we make, and our next goal as well. And our next goal. So you can help support us there if you wish. Again, to boost the prize pool of our tournaments and to help us grow our events as well. You can help us out. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Our next, if you see something that you like, for example, back to our schedule, bam. If you see something that you like and if you can't watch it live, for example, say Home Story Cup, we just finished casting the entirety of Home Story Cup, the group stage and the playoffs. We casted Thunderfire, which featured Scarlet, Innovation made his return, MMA as well, Oliveira. We had some legend show matches during Thunderfire. If you missed out on some of these events and if you want to watch them live, or if you want to catch up on the VOD, YouTube is the place to be. We do upload to YouTube on a daily basis, plenty of content, plenty of StarCraft over on YouTube, so you can check it out there. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks so much for the support, and we'll see you guys next time, whether it's tomorrow in 12 hours or whether it's on Wednesday at a more European friendly time or what have you. We'll see you next time. See you then. Until then, thank you so much for watching, and hasta luego. Ciao, baby, ciao. Hasta luego. Till next time.